Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community.
Well, I mean, I could have done it for a little bit, but I had to be at work at 11, so.
Not just the Cardinals, the Royals have too.
Okay. All right.
The time is 10 a.m.
Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Tony, and I'm here with Genevieve. We invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. Genevieve, would you like to start us off this morning?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Let's see, from the Springfield couple to open Casita de Meow, the city's first cat lounge by Ryan Collins of the Springfield Daily Citizen. There is a picture of two individuals holding up a little sign that says Casita de Meow with little cat footprints on it. Says Victoria, Tori Lifford, and Diana Candelaria, co-owners of Casita de Meow, hold up the original notebook where their business idea started on Wednesday, June 17th, 2026 in Springfield. In their relationship of just over 2 years, partners Victoria Tori Lifford and Diana Candelaria have rescued more than a handful of kittens from the streets of Springfield. In that process, their house has filled with more than their fair share of feline companions, and the Springfield couple have found a new calling in the process. They hope to provide a space for people to interact with cats and hopefully present a new avenue that will lead to more adoptions. The start of their relationship about 2 years ago marked the birth of Springfield's first cat lounge. The business just needed some time to culminate. The 29-year-olds will officially be opening Casita de Meow, or Little House of Meows, in downtown Springfield in August. The cat lounge will be located at 210 South Market Avenue, Suite 132, in the same building that houses Mama G's Kitchen. Casita de Meow will have a soft opening in August, with a grand opening celebration tentatively planned for the end of that month. The downtown space is bare, but the business owners are building out the interior ahead of opening. A vestibule will be built at the entrance to ensure the cats don't escape the building when customers walk in. Cat Lounge, one day, hopefully Cat Cafe. There is a picture of the vacant, soon-to-be Cat de Meow space. The space will be used as a cat lounge while also being a small space for retail and other collaborative events. The owners hope to expand into a full cafe if the business succeeds. So what exactly does a cat lounge look like? It's come in, hang out, you pay an entry fee, hang out with the cats for an hour, 3 hours, whatever you decide, Candelaria said at the downtown storefront June 17th. We'll have a little bit of cat retail as well, and then they are also adoptable through the Humane Society. So if you fall in love with one, you can take it home. A customer can rent out time in the lounge to study, work, or to simply just hang out with the cats. While the exact details are still being worked out, the business owners plan to price the lounge at $15 for 1 hour or $30 for 3 hours. The business is working on membership pricing and student discounts. The business couple have partnered with the Humane Society of Southwest Missouri and are essentially loaning the felines from the nonprofit. The Humane Society is providing food and care products and has the license to care for the animals. The idea is to increase exposure to the cats and hopefully garner more adoptions. The business arrangement will start with loaning 5 cats to Casita de Meow. That number may grow as the business gets its footing. The Humane Society will hand select those cats based on temperament and socialization. They are very specifically picking which animals come here, Lifford said. We can't just have cats fight here all day, and maybe some cats are more shy away from humans. We're definitely not saying no to them, but we're letting them kind of choose who's going to fit this environment. It's been a multi-year journey to open the cat lounge in downtown Springfield. In that time, Lifford and Candelaria's relationship has developed, partly around Casita de Meow. The couple put all their cat lounge ideas down into a handmade book to record the journey and remind them of what lies ahead. Small retail space for feline wares plan to invite local makers. There is a picture of the logo for Casita de Meow that features a blue cat and the words Casita de Meow. The new lounge opening in downtown Springfield in August 2026. In addition to the business license, the cat lounge has a retail license, and the plan is to sell cat products like collars, clothes, treats, and more. The owners hope to expand the retail section to local makers who wish to sell their art or homemade crafts, and the idea is that there will be a cat theme. Right now, the business owners expect to sell items from a vending machine and also plan to give customers the option to bring food and drink with them. But the current permits do not allow them to make and serve food in the cat lounge, which is the dream the business owners are working towards. One day, we would like to have the cafe part at the cat cafe, but we are doing this all on our own, without any extra funds, so we can't afford the cafe at this moment, Candelaria said. Lifford added, but the city has some obvious and fair, super strict requirements with animals anywhere near food. We're starting smaller and with full intentions of growing into a cafe space as well. The permitting process for the cat lounge has been interesting, Lifford said. We are definitely first people doing this here and made it this far, Lifford said, and we're making it up together and figuring it out with the city. The business and future cafe will have a Spanish leaning because of Candelaria's heritage, she said. The couple wants to serve Mexican drinks and snacks, and that is one reason why they went with a Spanish business name. Events like cat yoga coming soon. There is a picture of the soon-to-be storefront of Casita de Meow on Commercial Street. Right now, it looks like a vacant building. The business couple expects to add events to the lounge's roster. Cat yoga is a must, and there are already arrangements being made with a yoga instructor. But you can expect paint by numbers, wine tasting, and other events that would pair excellently with some feline company. The Cat Lounge owners said they signed a 2-year lease for about $1,500 per month, with the option to renew. The total financial investment for Casita de Meow has been about $10,000 so far, Candelaria and Lifford said. It's the first time Lifford and Candelaria have started a business together, but not the first business Candelaria has started. She is a hairdresser who has started her own salon and been a part of multiple independent salons in Springfield. Lifford works for the Drew Lewis Foundation at the Fairbanks. Casita de Meow, LLC, was formed in October 25 and is registered to Victoria Lifford of Springfield, according to Missouri Secretary of State Records. The business is housed in the Shops at College Station, a property owned by Tillman Redevelopment, LLC. The business owners looked for a long time for a suitable building to house the Cat Lounge, and were met with some pushback from a number of property owners. They eventually landed on the Tillman redevelopment property because the company was willing to work with them to bring an asset like Casita de Meow to downtown, Lifford said. Downtown was the ideal location for the business, so it all worked out as it was supposed to, Lifford said. We fell in love in downtown Springfield, I don't know, it's like part of our relationship too, Lifford said. So yeah, the Cat Lounge being here, like being born here, just makes total sense. We kind of wanted to hold out for it anyway, then it worked out that way.
And the latest in the search at Lake Springfield, Harrison Keegan brings us this story that says they are suspending the large-scale search with one still missing. The article begins with a photo of a search crew member as he wades in the waters near the Lake Springfield Dam yesterday, June 18th, here in Springfield. Looks like the water is still up quite a bit over the banks. You can't see the banks. All you can see is trees in the water. The Springfield Fire Department announced Thursday night, June 18th, that it is suspending large-scale search operations following a tragic drowning incident near the Lake Springfield Dam on Sunday. One victim, 40-year-old Taylor Stawney, remains missing. She is presumed dead. Authorities say Taylor Stawney and her daughters, I'm going to assume this is Aurelia, Aurelie, age 12, Andrea, age 19, and Sophie, age 17, were on the lake in a kayak with inflatables tied to the vessel when they went over the dam and spillway. Firefighters were able to rescue Aurelia from the rushing water, which was fueled by a weekend of heavy rain. The bodies of Andrea and Sophie were recovered in the following days. Quote, "We have used all resources available to return those missing to their loved ones. I am proud of the efforts from everyone involved," said Springfield Fire Chief David Pennington in a news release. "While we are scaling back our search operations, we will continue to make flights with our drones in the days to come, and will be turning over the incident to the Missouri Water Patrol." The release says the search effort has included members of the Springfield Fire Department in addition to resources from the Springfield Police Department, Branson Fire Rescue, Battlefield, Logan Rogersville, and Ozark Fire Protection Districts, Missouri State Highway Patrol, to include the Air Wing and Water Patrol divers, city utilities, and search and rescue canines from Boone County Fire Protection District and Missouri Task Force 1. Quote, "On behalf of Mayor Jeff Schrag, City Manager David Cameron, and the officers and firefighters of the Springfield Fire Department, we offer our deepest condolences to the family and friends of those involved," Pennington said. Aurelia has been released from the hospital, as have 3 members of the Springfield Fire Department's water rescue team, who Pennington said were injured when their rescue boat capsized after reaching Aurelia. And in case you missed the earlier story on that, The update from the 17th announced that they did identify those victims as the mother and her 3 daughters. Jack McGee brings us this story that confirmed that the 4 victims were a mother and 3 daughters. Crews responded a little after 4 p.m. on Sunday, June 14th, to reports of 4 people in need of rescuing near the dam at Lake Springfield after going over the spillway and dam beneath Kissick Avenue. One individual, a juvenile female, was rescued and transported to a local hospital. In a press release, authorities identified the girl as 12-year-old Aurelia Stawney. Aurelia, along with 3 members of the Springfield Fire Department's water rescue team, injured when a rescue boat capsized, have since been released from the hospital. By Sunday evening, Fire Chief David Pennington categorized the search as a recovery operation rather than a rescue. On June 16th, search crews located the body of 19-year-old Andrea Stawney in the James River, approximately a quarter of a mile downriver from the dam. Wednesday morning, June 17th, search teams located the body of 17-year-old Sophie Stawney near the dam, according to a news release from the police department. Search efforts will resume Thursday to look for 40-year-old Taylor Stawney, who is still missing. More than 40 rescuers from multiple local agencies have searched on land, in the water, and by air, according to the release. Through the investigation, it was determined that Aurelia, Andrea, Sophie, and Taylor Stawney were in a kayak and 2 inflatable tubes that were connected at the time of the incident. Further circumstances remain part of an ongoing investigation.
For more on that story, we turn to the article Uncle of 3 Girls in Lake Springfield Tragedy Describes the Family by Steve Pokin of the Springfield Daily Citizen. There is a picture of the 3 young girls and their mom. It looks to be that they are at the beach, swimming, smiling, and having a good time. Gilbert and Taylor Stawney moved to Springfield only a few years ago. Gilbert Stawney is the ex-husband of Taylor Stawney, whose body remained missing Thursday afternoon after she and the couple's 3 daughters went over the dam and into the water at Lake Springfield on Sunday afternoon, June 14th. Gilbert Stawney was not with them when the tragedy occurred. My brother decided to move there, Darren Weber tells me. He is Gilbert's brother and lives in Gulfport, Mississippi. He liked the environment, he loved the outdoors, he liked the hills, it was just a homey vibe for him. There is another picture of Taylor Stawney and her 3 children outside on what looks to be a hay bale, also smiling at the camera. Taylor Stawney, 40, is presumed dead. Crews are still looking for her body. 2 of her 3 daughters are dead, Andrea Stawney and Sophie Stawney, 17. Their bodies have been recovered. Aurelia Stawney, age 12, was rescued. She was hospitalized and released. A GoFundMe page has been created to help the family pay for funeral expenses. As of Thursday afternoon, more than $30,000 had been raised. According to the page, all money raised will go directly towards funeral services for Taylor, Andrea, and Sophie, as well as providing support for their surviving sister, Aurelia. The funds will help ease the financial burden and allow the family to focus on healing and honoring the memories of their loved ones. She was the light of every room. Weber said he is a firefighter and is on the dive rescue team in Gulfport. He described the personalities of the 3 girls, his nieces, and of Taylor Stawney, maiden name Otto. He said of Andrea, she was the light of every room. She was a great artist. She always wanted to love and have everybody love each other. When anyone was around, she didn't like any arguments. She just wanted to be this happy, outgoing girl. She loved Pokemon, and she would play with a lot of Pokemon figurines, draw Pokemon, and just anything Pokemon related. There is a picture of a search crew member wading through the waters near Lake Springfield Dam on Thursday, June 18th. The water is up to his waist, and he is pulling a boat raft behind him. The water levels are quite high, with only the treetops visible. Sophie was the toughest of the 3, he said. She wrestled in high school at Willard. She did jujitsu, she loved horror movies, she loved anything that was horror related. She was just a down-to-earth little girl who would kick everybody's ass. Weber said that he gave jujitsu lessons to Sophie. He is a jiu-jitsu instructor in Gulfport. The youngest girl, she's spunky. Here's how he described Taylor, the mother. Taylor was a big planter, he says. She liked the earth. She was a weather meteorologist for the Navy, so she was always outdoors looking at clouds and nature. She was big into playing board games. She also liked to cook stuff from scratch. Just overall, the mom. The couple was married in March 2006 in Mobile, Alabama, according to court records. They met in Biloxi, Mississippi, Weber tells me. There is a picture overlooking the side of the bridge that goes over the dam. It says choppy water on the west side of the dam at Lake Springfield on Monday, June 15th. It shows that the water levels are still fairly high from the storm flooding. They met at a comic book store playing a role-playing game called Hero Clicks, he says. Here's how he described Aurelia, who survived. She's spunky, he says. She's got some attitude. She's the youngest, so she's the princess of the group. She likes to play video games with her sisters and her father. She was always about animals and plants. She loves the outdoors. Father doing as good as anyone can do with this situation. The family moved to Springfield from Washington, D.C., Weber says. Gilbert Stauney is a software engineer and works for a company that has been purchased by Google. Gilbert Stauney filed for divorce March 28, 2025. It was uncontested, Weber says. They were divorced for 2 months after the filing. She was 40 years old and Gilbert is 42. There was no ugly custody battle, he says. Both parents were involved in the lives of the girls. Weber says Gilbert is doing as good as anyone can do with this situation, adding he's got a lot of support around him. Weber said their mother and Gilbert's stepfather are in Springfield with Gilbert. Weber is grateful for the efforts of all those involved in the rescue mission and the subsequent recovery mission. There is an aerial photo that shows South Kissick Avenue and the dam beneath it. Lake Springfield is on the other side of the dam. I was real thankful for all the firefighters that were involved in rescuing Aurelia, and all the other dive rescue operators, Weber says. Bill Smith says he worked with Taylor Stauney at the Valiant Group, a real estate company. She was not only an amazing agent, but a truly beautiful person inside and out. Smith shared in a Facebook post, she was a kind, sweet, giving, and always willing to help others. She loved her children deeply, served our country as a veteran, and left an impact on everyone who had the honor of knowing her. Our hearts are broken for her surviving child, her family, friends, clients, and everyone who loved them. Please keep them all in your prayers during this unimaginable time.
And in further public safety news, Jackie Rewald from the Springfield Daily Citizen brings us this story that says a testimony reveals possible motive in the fatal shooting of 15-year-old Miles Young. The article begins with a courtroom photo of Jeffrey Archaga as he enters Greene County Judge Ron Carrier's courtroom on Monday, June 15th. He is wearing a two-piece prison uniform that is black and white striped. He is standing beside a man who looks very well kempt in his tailored blue suit and has his long hair pulled back. Testimony this week from the teenager who admitted she set up 15-year-old Miles Young on the night he was killed painted a clearer picture of what investigators believe happened, including the motive, who likely fired the fatal shot, and how Young's death is tied to the 2025 killing of 14-year-old Jackie Straley. The 17-year-old girl who testified at Jeffrey Archaga's preliminary hearing on Monday, June 15th, is currently charged in juvenile court. For this reason, the Daily Citizen will refer to her as J1, which is how she is listed in publicly available court documents. Archaga and Praise King, both 18, are charged with the Class A felony of first-degree murder and armed criminal action for their alleged roles in the fatal shooting of Young on March 12, 2026, just south of the Springfield city limits. King waived his right to a preliminary hearing earlier this month. J1 testified at Archaga's preliminary hearing Monday that she was close friends with Straley and that she and her co-defendants believed Young was somehow involved in Straley's death. Law enforcement has not publicly released any information or evidence stating Young was culpable in Straley's killing. J1 testified she tricked Young into getting into the vehicle she was driving on the night he was killed, knowing she would be taking Young to a location where King and Archaga would, quote, jump him. She testified their plan was for Archaga and King to physically assault Young, not to murder him. However, she also testified that Archaga and King were both armed with handguns. Young was declared dead at a Cox South hospital on March 12, 2026. Court documents state he had a single gunshot wound to his chest. J1 is charged with first-degree murder in juvenile court, according to Greene County Chief Juvenile Officer Bill Prince. She has a hearing later this year to determine whether she will be tried as an adult. When asked why she and her friends plotted to set up Young that night, J1 replied, "He's not really liked," she said, "and he was involved in the murder of Jackie." Asked if she wanted revenge on Young for his possible involvement in Straley's death, J1 said, "Yeah." Straley's body was found on January 28, 2025 in a brush area behind a residence in the 5600 block of West Farm Road 140. For Straley's death, 19-year-old Irvin Rashad Worlds is charged with first-degree murder, armed criminal action, abandonment of a corpse, and tampering with physical evidence. In the state's request for a warrant, Worlds was described as the main suspect in the murder of a 14-year-old girl. Young is not named in publicly available court documents used to charge Worlds. The probable cause statement mentions at least 2 witnesses, including a minor. Though many close to Straley's and Young's cases have speculated on social media that the 2 cases were connected, investigators and Greene County prosecutor Dan Patterson had declined to confirm the link. The Springfield Daily Citizen attended Archaga's preliminary hearing on Monday, during which witnesses and attorneys confirmed the 2 cases were connected in that the co-defendants in Young's killing believed Young was involved in Straley's death, and that is why they allegedly plotted to set him up. Assistant prosecuting attorney Amanda Johnson questioned J1 about the events leading up to Young's killing. J1 testified that she, Archaga, King, and 2 other teenage girls were hanging out in a vehicle in a parking lot around 7 p.m., March 11, 2026. During this time, the teenage girls became involved in a Snapchat group call that included Young. When the call ended, J1 said that she and the others in the car began talking about how they didn't like Young and believed he was involved in Straley's death. The group then began discussing a plan to set up Young. According to J1, the plan was that J1 and one of the other girls would arrange to meet up with Young and another young man. But that other young man was scared of being set up, so he didn't go, J1 said. According to the probable cause statement, a witness, presumably that young man tried to warn Young not to meet up with J1 because it was a setup. Following is a photo of Praise King as he walks into Judge Margaret Palmieto's courtroom for his preliminary hearing on Thursday, June 4th, 2026. He is wearing a prison uniform that is black and gray striped and giving a look of contempt at the woman he's looking at. We cannot see her as her back is to the camera. J1 testified that Archaga and King both had guns in their laps that night. She said Archaga had a 9mm and King had a .40 caliber. After that Snapchat group call ended, J1 and Young continued to communicate with each other about where and when to meet. J1 said the group left the parking lot and went to King's house, where the 2 other girls, Archaga and King, left in King's car, and J1 drove by herself in a black Mercedes. J1 drove to a residence to pick up Young, who was apprehensive about getting in the car with her. She said she was on the phone with Young while driving to the residence and that he asked if she was still dating Archaga. J1 said she told Young they had broken up. Asked if Young believed their meeting that night would be a date kind of thing, J1 said, "Probably. He thought I was going to set him up. He wanted to make sure that nobody else was in the car," J1 testified. "Before he reaches the car and we're still on the phone, he talks to me across the yard. He tells me to turn on the lights in the car." J1 described how Young searched the car and trunk to make sure no one was with her. Once he was satisfied she was alone, J1 said Young got in the car and was singing and rapping to her about Straley and another friend who died, someone named Reggie. J1 said Young was rapping, "Long live Reggie, long live Jackie." Following is a photo of Jackie Straley, age 14, of Springfield, who was found fatally shot on January 28, 2025. She appears to be a natural redhead with blue eyes and a sweet smile. Knowing that you had a dislike for him because of what you believed his involvement was with Jackie, did that irritate you that he would bring her up? Asked Adam Woody, Archaga's defense attorney. Yes, J1 replied. J1 said the plan was for her to drive Young in the Mercedes to Hartman Park, located just north of Republic Road in southwest Springfield, where Archaga and King would find them and jump Young. I was expecting to go to the park and just park, but then I didn't see them at the park, so I kept driving up Maplewood. I guess they were following my location because J1 had Archaga's phone, or something because they had my location, she said. They came up Maplewood and cut me off. J1 testified that King was driving the other vehicle down the hill and she was driving up the hill. When King's vehicle approached hers, King turned his car sideways in the road and blocked her. At that point, Young realized he had been set up, got out of the car, and began running away, J1 testified. J1 testified that King and Archaga started running after Young. Archaga caught up to Young first, J1 said, and kicked Young in the back or the back of the legs, knocking Young to the ground. J1 testified that it was dark, everything was happening so fast, and she couldn't see if King or Archaga had anything in their hands. She said she heard a gunshot as she and the other two girls were getting into the black Mercedes. As the girls drove away, they heard 2 more gunshots. J1 said she and the other girls drove around for a while trying to figure out where to go. She heard over the police scanner that Young was dead about an hour after the shooting. J1 said she slept in the car and connected with Archaga and King the following morning at a friend's house. She said that King's brother drove her, Archaga, King, and another woman to a residence in Willard. During that drive, King's brother asked about Young's death, J1 said. Jeffrey Archaga says that he did not do it, J1 testified. Praise King kind of just did not say anything, and then eventually he says that he did it. Asked if King or Archaga laughed about Young's death, J1 testified they had an I don't care attitude. Johnson, the assistant prosecutor, asked J1 about conversations she had with Archaga after the shooting. Jeffrey told me that he pistol whipped him, and then they got him to the ground, J1 said, and then Praise shot him. J1 testified that Archaga told her his gun went off once while he pistol whipped Young and that the clip fell out of his gun. When questioned by Woody, Archaga's defense attorney, J1 reiterated many times that the plan was for Archaga and King to physically assault Young and not kill him. In your conversations with Jeffrey, he reassured you that he wasn't going to shoot anybody, Woody asked. Correct, J1 replied. And never did he say anything about wanting to shoot or murder anybody, Woody asked. Right, J1 replied. Because J1 testified that Archaga had the 9mm gun and King had the .40 caliber, and because investigators testified they found 2 .40 caliber shell casings that had been fired, and a single live 9mm round that had not been fired, Woody argued this was all evidence King was the one who fired the fatal shot into Young's chest. Woody argued that the testimony of Archaga kicking and pistol whipping Young served as evidence that Archaga was following the original plan to physically assault Young, not kill him. Woody asked J1 about her extensive interview on May 14th with the prosecutor, a juvenile officer, investigators, and her attorney. Quote, they were all asking you questions at separate times, and this lasted multiple hours, Woody questioned her. And at the time, before you did that, you signed what's called a proffer agreement? Correct, she applied. And basically that's where you agree to sort of cooperate with the prosecutor's office and to testify, Woody continued. Yeah, J1 replied. And you don't have any agreement regarding a specific outcome you'll receive, but you're hoping by doing that you'll get some leniency, Woody asked. J1 agreed. Woody then questioned J1 about her case currently being in the juvenile court system and whether she hopes to not be charged as an adult. Johnson objected to these questions, but Judge Ron Carrier overruled. Woody asked J1 if she hopes she won't be charged as an adult. I think it's going to happen either way, J1 said. I'm 17. At the conclusion of testimony Monday, Woody urged Judge Carrier to dismiss the case against Archaga because, in his view, the prosecutors had not shown probable cause to support a first-degree murder charge. They've shown probable cause for something substantially less, Woody argued. They didn't charge Mr. Archaga as an accomplice or some sort of accessory. They charged him with knowingly causing the death of the victim by shooting. There's absolutely no evidence before this court that Mr. Archaga shot the victim. There's none. The evidence before the court is that Praise King shot the victim, Woody said. I would ask the court to dismiss at this point this charge against the defendant or I think the state has to amend their felony complaint. Chief Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Joshua Harrell argued the Associate Circuit Court has the authority to determine if the felony was likely committed, not the degree of the felony. Mr. Woody is arguing that it's another degree or felony. That's not a decision for the court to make at this time. The law is clear about that, Harrell said. If the court finds probable cause of any degree of homicide offense, this case is bound over under first-degree murder. Woody argued that the state must show Archaga committed acts which aided the co-defendant in the kill, that it was the defendant's conscious purpose in committing the acts that the person be killed, and that they have to prove the defendant coolly deliberated upon the act. Here, that's not the evidence. Woody then repeated his arguments that Archaga was physically assaulting Young when King, out of the blue, came down the hill and shot the kid in the chest. He's not even the one who had the problem with Miles. He didn't know anything about Jackie, Woody said, adding that it was King who was driving and cut off the vehicle J1 drove that night. Mr. Archaga was just there along for the ride. He didn't intend to kill anybody. Johnson disagreed. Quote, "The evidence of deliberation is pretty clear here," Johnson said. "He wasn't just there. He went along with it, planned it. They all planned it as a group. He goes to the scene with a loaded gun, gets out of the car, chases after someone, is the first one to make physical contact with him, kicks Miles to the ground, pulls a loaded gun out, and hits him in the face. You don't bring a gun to jump someone," Johnson said. "You bring a gun to kill someone." In the end, Judge Carrier bound the case over for arraignment in circuit court, where a trial date will eventually be set. Archaga is set for an arraignment in Judge Jerry Harmison's courtroom on June 26th. King is set for an arraignment in Judge Harmison's courtroom on July 10th.
Springfield begins College Street Historic Survey Revitalization Plan by Marta Mies of the Springfield News-Leader. West College Street will be in the spotlight as the city looks for ways to preserve the past as well as breathe new life into the area. 2 public meetings are scheduled in the coming weeks to engage local residents and gather feedback for a revitalization plan and a historic survey. The city is beginning 2 efforts that will examine and collect information about the College Street corridor. Iowa-based Eocene Environmental Group has been engaged to develop a strategy for revitalization of the corridor between Grant Avenue and Kansas Expressway. Meanwhile, Michigan-based Logia Preservation has been hired to conduct an intensive-level historic resource survey of West College from Grant to Scenic Avenue/Chestnut Expressway, according to a city news release. The revitalization effort of the College Street corridor will focus on redevelopment, environmental assessment, and community-driven planning as it falls within the West Central Neighborhood Alliance. According to the release, the effort will utilize $99,000 in Environmental Protection Agency's Brownfields Assessment Grant funds to identify and address underutilized and potentially contaminated sites and align land use, infrastructure investments, transportation, and housing with community priorities. The corridor is surrounded by several brownfield sites, according to the release, including bulk oil stations, auto salvage and recycling yards, auto repair shops, a hazardous waste area, and railways. Past assessments have identified heavy contamination of petroleum, heavy metals, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, which are a group of more than 100 chemical compounds formed by the incomplete burning of organic materials like coal, gas, and wood. PAHs are classified as potential human carcinogens. Results of past assessments are available on the city's website. There is a picture of the birthplace of Route 66 Roadside Park, which is located on College Street and pays tribute to the Mother Road. It's an empty street with the giant hamburger sign from a local restaurant out front. The city will host an open house and public meeting on the revitalization plan process on Monday, June 22nd from 4 to 6 p.m. The Midtown Carnegie Branch Library at 301 East Central Street will host the event. The event is Come and Go with a 10-minute presentation at 4 p.m. and at 5 p.m. These funds will help us turn underused and potentially contaminated properties into catalysts for new housing, business development, and job creation, said Amanda O'Hill-Sellin, Director of Economic Vitality and Workforce, in the release. This is more than a cleanup. It's an opportunity to reinvigorate key areas of our city and strengthen the local economy. Beyond supporting redevelopment and reinvestment, the effort's key goals also include preserving and integrating the historic Route 66 character into the redevelopment strategies and expanding housing opportunities while preserving affordability. EOCene is expected to conduct field work starting Tuesday, June 23rd between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Community and stakeholder engagement will include a community advisory team. Alongside fieldwork, the project team will also conduct visioning and market analysis to evaluate redevelopment potential and incorporate community input. In December, the team will begin to draft the plan. Community engagement will continue into early 2027 to validate draft recommendations. The final plan is anticipated to be complete in April 2027, according to the release. But it's not all just about building new. A historic survey effort will document architectural and historical significance of structures and evaluate eligibility to include them on the National Register of Historic Places and Landmark designation. A public meeting about the survey process and the ability for locals to share photos and memories of the area will be held at 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, June 23rd at Resurrection Church, 545 South Broadway Avenue. Once the survey is complete, property owners and the Landmarks Board have the option to seek historic designation, either for individual properties or as a larger district. Currently, only the Rock Fountain Motor Court is on the National Register from the entire area, added in 2003. This survey will provide a more thorough and complete inventory of the historic resources which still exist today, said Landmarks Board Chair John Hawkins in the release. It is also the first step in helping guide preservation of any resources which contribute to our city's identity for future generations. The area of College between Grant and Chestnut Expressway consists of 181 parcels. After the Tuesday meeting, the Logia team will be both driving and walking the area to take notes and photos of the structures, determine if the construction has historical significance, and document whether a structure has been added onto. The final report is anticipated to be complete in March of 2027. Historical surveys are approved by Missouri's State Historical Preservation Office and must be completed under the supervision of a qualified historian. The survey is funded through a $30,000 allocation by Springfield City Council from 2024 carryover funds.
And we are currently broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store, situated at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. For additional information about our store, please visit our official website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. To explore more of our video content, including movie reviews with Matt and Meredith, adaptive technology training videos, and other informative material, please visit our YouTube channel by searching for Blind Community Thrift Store. Our organization is dedicated to supporting the blind community through various initiatives, and our online platforms serve as valuable resources for community engagement and education. And it looks like crews responded to a fire at the West Sunshine Street Brahms restaurant this week. Jack McGee with Springfield Daily Citizen brings us this story that begins with a photo of the fire crews working out at that restaurant. Looks like they've got the hose stretched up and several firefighters on the ladder there. On Wednesday afternoon, June 17th, firefighters battled a fire at the Brahms restaurant on West Sunshine Street near Fort Avenue. Nobody was injured in the fire, according to Ben Houston, battalion chief with the Springfield Fire Department. Around 5 p.m., SFD received a call about a possible fire at the Brahms at 1401 West Sunshine Street in Springfield. Crews found visible smoke and fire upon arriving on scene, Houston said, noting that patrons and staff were outside of the restaurant prior to their arrival. They were able to quickly locate and extinguish the fire with an offensive attack, Houston said. SFD will remain on scene to clean up hot spots and investigate the incident. Houston said there was extensive smoke damage but limited fire damage. It will be closed down until they clean up and a health inspector comes through there, he said. The article ends with another photo of the firefighting crew as they respond to that fire on Sunshine Street back on Wednesday. We've got a yellow fire engine and a red fire engine, and looks like maybe another red engine in the back with its ladder headed up and smoke billowing out of the building. So hopefully they can get that reopened soon.
Groundbreakings will mark final projects in Proposition S by Joe Hadsel. There is a picture of a classroom. It says, movement is a big part of Clarissa Pullman's Spanish class at Pershing. Seen here, moving their arms like the ones of a clock during a lesson on telling time. The classroom is very colorful with flags of different countries around its border with large windows. The students are facing each other with their arms in the air, imitating a clock. 3 groundbreaking ceremonies in the coming days will mark the final construction projects in a $220 million bond package approved by voters in 2023. While initial work has already begun at the schools, Springfield Public Schools officials will hold events that mark the beginning of construction in earnest at both Bissett and Bingham Elementaries and what is now Pershing Middle School. Bissett will be held at 5:30 p.m. Thursday, June 25th at the school located at 3014 West Calhoun Street. Pershing will be held at 5:30 p.m. Monday, June 29th at the school located at 2120 South Ventura Avenue. Bingham's groundbreaking has yet to be set. A date will be announced once the current school, located at 2126 East Cherry Street, has been demolished. The projects are the final ones outlined in Proposition S, which voters approved by an overwhelming majority. The highlight in that package was 3 middle school renovations. Pipkin Middle School and Reed Academy were also included, and those buildings are set to open for students in August. The package also included safe rooms at 6 elementaries, classroom expansion at 2 elementaries, and security upgrades throughout the district. There's a picture of an architectural rendering showing how Pershing Middle School would be situated on its current property and how traffic would access the school from Seminole Street in the south and Ventura Avenue in the west. Pershing will get an entirely new building. The district will build at the northeast corner of the property. When the new school is completed, the old school will be demolished to make room for a track and practice field similar to other middle schools. For the coming school year, Pershing students in grades 6 through 8 will attend in the current building. Students in grades K through 5 have been reassigned to either Field or Wilder elementaries, based on where they live in relation to a railroad track near the school. Additional classrooms have been built at both schools in anticipation of the reassignment. When completed, Pershing will have about 48 classrooms and updated library, gym, and rehearsal spaces for choir and band programs, as well as modern security features. It will offer about 142,000 square feet. District leaders hope its completion will be reached before an original projection of 2028. The Bissett and Bingham projects were added to Proposition S about 2 years after the election. District officials said the excellent bond sales, good financial management, and lower than expected construction prices offered $48 million in extra money for the 2 projects. Both projects are expected to be completed in time for the 2027 to 2028 school year. Bissett's project includes new classrooms and a renovation. About 22,000 square feet of new space will be added for 4 classrooms, and a storm shelter gymnasium similar to what was added at other elementaries. Additionally, about 33,000 square feet of space will be renovated and modernized. Students during the 2026 through 2027 school year will attend the old Sherwood Elementary School located on the corner of Sunshine and Scenic. Bingham's plan calls for a completely new school. Nabul's Construction was chosen as the construction manager to build an about 65,000 square foot building. Before the school can be built, the old one must be cleared from the site. Stephen Hall, Chief Communications Officer for SPS, said a date for its groundbreaking will be set once the site is suitable for construction. Demolition was awarded in a separate contract and is scheduled to begin this week. The board is expected to consider a guaranteed maximum price for the new building at an upcoming meeting. Like Bissett, the project is set to be open for students in the 2027 through 2028 school year. Bingham students will attend classes in the former Jarrett building at 840 South Jefferson Avenue.
And we would like to say a happy birthday to some famous folks celebrating today. First up, former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is 62 today. Actress Zoe Saldana, best known for Avatar and Pirates of the Caribbean, is 48. Rapper Macklemore is 43. 90s icon Paula Abdul is 64 today. Actress Robin Tooney, best known for The Mentalist and Prison Break, is 54. Hugh Dancy, who played Will Graham in Hannibal, is 51. Sons of Anarchy actor Ryan Hurst is 50. Felicia Rashad, who played Claire Huxtable in The Cosby Show, turns 78 today. Kathleen Turner is 72. The guitarist for the band Korn, Brian Welch, is 56 today. And finally, NBA star Jordan Poole is 27 today. And speaking of NBA stars, Trevon Brazile is poised to make history as the first Springfield native to hear his name called in the modern NBA draft. Ryan Collingwood with the Springfield Daily Citizen brings us this story that begins with a photo of Arkansas forward and Springfield native Trevon Brazile as he is making a shot against an opponent. I apologize. The opponent is not named. Mr. Brazile here is in a red and white Razorbacks uniform. The opponent is in an orange and white uniform with the number 5, excuse me. There were sequences during Trevon Brazile's sophomore season at Arkansas that illustrated a surefire 2023 NBA draft pick. Between his 6'10" frame, shooter's touch, and ability to guard every position, Brazile averaged 11.8 points and 6 rebounds through 9 games while climbing up the draft boards of pundits who'd grown aware of the twitchy Springfield native. He wouldn't make it to Southeastern Conference play. An ACL tear resulted in a medical red shirt, ultimately keeping Brazile in Fayetteville. He would declare for the draft a year later before opting to return, a decision widely influenced by the addition of Naismith Hall of Fame head coach John Calipari. Calipari, known for his aggressive up-tempo pace and helping develop more than 60 NBA draft picks, reinvigorated the former Kickapoo and Parkview star. Brazile's 13 points, 7.3 rebounds, and nearly 2 block shots per game were key in a Razorbacks season that recently ended in a Sweet 16 appearance. He had worked his way back into the NBA conversation. Quote, "I knew if I was one of Calipari's guys, I could get to the league," Brazile told the Daily Citizen on Wednesday. "I felt like I had something to prove, and he did a great job of utilizing all of my tools." Following recent workouts with a dozen NBA teams, Brazile is widely expected to hear his name called in the second round of the 2026 NBA draft. First round coverage begins Tuesday, June 23rd at 7 p.m. on ESPN. ESPN has Brazile tabbed as the 45th overall selection, Sacramento. The Athletic forecasts Brazile as the 43rd at Charlotte, and Yahoo has him at number 56 for Chicago. Quote, "I've had good workouts with Boston, the Knicks, Miami, Toronto, Sacramento, and the Lakers," Brazile said. He isn't lost on the historic relevance of his draft status. If Brazil's name is called next week, he would be the first Springfield product drafted to the NBA in the two-round era that dates back to 1989. Former Parkview and Mizzou forward Greg Kavner was drafted in 1985 by the Golden State Warriors with the 95th overall selection in the 5th round. Quote, "It will be a good thing for the Springfield community," Brazil said. "It shows we have hoopers, and I know I'm not going to be the last one to hear his name called. Springfield has some underrated basketball." Following is a photo of Trevon Brazil as he plays in his number 7 white and red uniform for the Razorbacks here. He's got his tongue stuck out and concentrating intensely. Former Kickapoo star Anthony Tolliver went on to Creighton before signing with the Cavaliers in 2007 as an undrafted free agent, ultimately carving out a 13-year NBA career. Brazil, who led Kickapoo to a 2021 Class 6 state championship before playing his freshman season at Mizzou under then-coach Quanzo Martin, will likely be the next Queen City native in an NBA uniform. His wide-ranging abilities make him an attractive, relatively low-cost option. His Arkansas teammates Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas are projected first-rounders. "I got all of the tools. Offensively, I can shoot it. I can hit the open three. You can throw the ball anywhere at the rim because I'm a high-level lob threat. I can handle it. Low turnover guy," Brazil said. "Defensively, I can guard 1 and 5 and get steals on and off the ball, block shots. There are a whole bunch of ways I can help a team. I'm going to be ready to play off the jump as soon as I get drafted." His Springfield-based AAU coach, the late Rob Yanders, was the first to tell Brazil, who has a 7'4" wingspan, that the NBA was a possible destination. "He did a good job of preparing me for all of this. When I got to college, it was a matter of going through the process," Brazil said. "I had a good mindset going into it." Brazil has been traveling from his apartment in Fayetteville to Florida throughout the offseason, where he's been training in Miami with Excel Sports Management, who also represents recent Duke star and likely first-round lottery pick selection Cam Boozer. He plans to have a small private gathering with family and close friends in Springfield during the draft. Quote, "You have to go through some adversity to grow. It all happened for a reason that is bigger than me," said Brazil, who had 3 head coaches in 5 seasons. "Life has always brought me back to Arkansas. It ended up being Calipari there for 2 years, and it ended up being the best for me."
Encompass Academy expands into larger space near MSU by Claudette Riley, a reporter for the Springfield Business Journal. There is a picture of First and Calvary Presbyterian Church with their sign out front. It appears to be taken in the fall as the foliage on the trees surrounding the area are bright red. Facing a waiting list 3 times the size of its enrollment, Encompass Academy secured a larger space for the 2026 to 2027 year. The private school, founded in 2020, will move from the venue's church at 2616 East Battlefield Road, where it could serve a maximum of 50 students, to First and Calvary Presbyterian Church next to the Missouri State University campus. Nacy Ty Ryerson, founder and superintendent, said the school signed a 2-year lease and will begin by using 6 classrooms plus office space at 820 East Cherry Street. The lease includes flexibility that allows us time to move into the space, welcome additional students, and grow enrollment, she said. As a nonprofit organization, that kind of thoughtful planning and stewardship is incredibly valuable. Ryerson said the school will serve up to 75 students, ages 4 to 21, this year. The goal is to eventually serve 150 students. The current waiting list is 160. She said the mission is to provide personalized learning that supports the strengths, gifts, and potential of each child. Approved by the Missouri Non-Public School Accreditation Association, Ryerson said the Academy has been a magnet for diverse learning, including students who are academically gifted or diagnosed with dyslexia, autism, or Down syndrome. The school also works to provide a safe, supportive space for those who have experienced trauma. The Academy offers small classrooms, a whole child approach, and a social-emotional learning, plus academics. The 2026 through 2027 year will start August 31st. Our long-term goal isn't simply to operate a great school, Ryerson said. We want to help Springfield become a model community for how individuals with a wide range of strengths and needs are supported, educated, and empowered to contribute their unique strengths. Ryerson said in addition to full-time teachers and staff, the school is open to teachers in training from MSU. The school partners with therapy providers. We see ourselves as a teaching school and a case study. We can take what we learn and improve our system outward, she said. That is our ultimate goal, to be able to support our school systems as a whole. She said the highest demand is for placement in the transition classroom, which offers a higher level of support and additional staff. They also serve students who have sensory needs. Ryerson said the school is geared to serve students who may not have excelled in traditional schools and require individual learning and flexible pacing. The monthly tuition is $775 for elementary grades, $825 for middle and high school, and $850 for the transitional classroom. Ryerson said the academy is active beyond the classroom and provides family support, educator training, partnerships, and workforce development. We believe that when we invest in understanding and supporting today's learners, we're investing in the future capacity of our entire community, she said.
And in other business news, it looks like flooding impacted 204 units at a U-Haul storage facility in North Springfield this week. Ryan Collins with the Springfield Daily Citizen brings us this story that begins with a photo of the facility. This is the exterior. You can see the building housing their self-storage rentals as well as the office where you can go speak and get your rentals. Torrential rainfall over the past weekend led to severe flooding across Springfield. The U-Haul moving and storage in North Springfield was hit especially hard. Up to 204 units at the storage facility located at 1768 North Glenstone Avenue were impacted by the flooding. Jeff Lockridge, U-Haul manager of media and public relations, said in a June 16th email to the Daily Citizen. The flooding occurred at the easternmost of two buildings on the property. There are at least 1,400 units at the storage facility. Lockridge said the U-Haul team is making fast work of the cleanup, and the facility is already able to rent dry and secure self-storage units to new customers. Quote, as of midday Tuesday, June 16th, just over half of the occupied storage unit in question had been opened, cleaned, and had damaged items inventoried, Lockridge said. Severe thunderstorms with tornadoes and damaging winds hit Springfield late in the evening of June 13th, according to the National Weather Service. The storm system caused flash flooding and multiple fatalities. Over June 13th and 14th, nearly 3.5 inches of rainfall was recorded at the Springfield Branson National Airport, according to the city's rain gauge network. Beginning on June 14th, the company reached out to potentially affected tenants. U-Haul has asked customers to inspect their units between June 15th and 17th. The company has also offered to open up units and start the cleanup process while documenting the damage. Undamaged items from flooded units were placed in a U-Box portable storage container at the site, Lockridge said. RepWest insurance adjusters are on the scene this week to help customers file claims if they carried damage protection through U-Haul. Lindsay Spivey was one of the customers who had flooding damage at a unit she leased with her husband, she said in a Facebook Messenger conversation with the Daily Citizen. Overall, Spivey said they lost a couple mini bike motors and some electronics that were submerged, but that the loss that hit the hardest was a few boxes of family keepsakes. We never thought Mother Nature would hit like that, Spivey said, but lesson learned. Keep things high because you never know. Spivey said U-Haul has been good to work with throughout the ordeal and helped them with cleanup. There are two other U-Haul storage facilities in Springfield located at 3145 South Campbell Avenue and 3150 South Campbell Avenue. For those who were hit by the flash flooding in Springfield last weekend, U-Haul can provide its disaster relief program at all three Springfield storage facilities. That program includes 30 days of free self-storage and U-Box use.
Springfield Little Theater reveals 2026 to 2027 seasonal lineup by Janice Reeser of the Springfield News-Leader. Springfield Little Theater has announced the lineup for its 2026 to 2027 main stage season, featuring 7 productions at the Landers Theater at 311 East Walnut Street, Springfield. The season will run from September 2026 through June 2027, according to a community announcement. Les Miserables will kick off the season, running September 11th through the 27th. The musical tells the story of Jean Valjean, a former convict who seeks redemption in 19th century France. Arsenic and Old Lace, a comedy about 2 elderly women who poisoned lonely old men, will follow October 16th through the 25th. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer will run November 27th through December 13th, offering a family-friendly holiday production. Once Upon a Mattress, a musical comedy based on the fairy tale The Princess and the Pea, will run January 29th through February 13th. Dear Evan Hansen, a Tony Award-winning musical about a high school student with social anxiety, will run March 12th through the 28th. Peter Pan Goes Wrong, a comedy about a disastrous production of Peter Pan, will run April 23rd through May 9th. Mean Girls, a musical based on the 2004 film, will close out the season June 11th through the 27th. Tickets on sale in July. Emerald level sustaining memberships and patron memberships went on sale June 12th, with season subscriptions available starting July 6th, according to the announcement. Single tickets for all season productions will be available beginning at noon on July 13th. The Springfield Little Theater box office can be reached at 417-869-1334 or by visiting springfieldlittletheater.org.
And 2 men in Greene County Jail are accused of jackpotting an ATM in Branson for $21,000. Steve Pokin with the Springfield Daily Citizen brings us this article that begins with a photo of a close-up of the keys on an ATM, and they're just typical ATM keys. They have Braille. 2 men accused of ATM jackpotting were held in the Greene County Jail for allegedly using computer malware to override an ATM in Branson to steal $21,000 on February 27th. The bank is not named in the federal charging documents. Jackpotting has been a growing problem among banks and credit unions across the country in recent years. In fact, the FBI released a bulletin about the problem on February 19th. That bulletin states in part, quote, "Threat actors exploit physical and software vulnerabilities in ATMs and deploy malware to dispense cash without a legitimate transaction. The FBI has observed an increase in ATM jackpotting incidents across the United States. Out of 1,900 jackpotting incidences reported since 2020, over 700 of them, with more than $20 million in losses, occurred in 2025 alone. Carlos Eduardo Sabino Parra, age 26, who was booked into the Greene County Jail on June 11th, and Alfredo Jose Maita Asianzo, age 22, was booked on June 15th. They face felony charges of conspiracy to commit bank fraud and conspiracy to commit bank burglary and damage to a protected computer. They're also accused of trying to jackpot an ATM in Lincoln, Nebraska on February 5th. Following are booking photos of the 2 individuals named. Both are headshots. Both appear to be Hispanic males, young. 2 other men face the same charges for allegedly trying to jackpot the ATM in Lincoln on February 5th and stealing $21,000 from the ATM in Branson on February 27th. The other 2 are Gabriel Antonio Cordero Reynoso and Yoscarlis Estefania Lopez Guevara. They did not appear on the Greene County Jail's inmate roster as of Tuesday. The Nebraska charges were filed April 21st, and the Missouri case was filed June 10th. The process of jackpotting is explained in those federal documents. There are 3 stages. Quote, the first stage involved installation of the hardware. Specifically, members of the conspiracy would typically gain physical access to the ATM, Remove the data storage device, referred to as a hard drive or solid-state drive, from the ATM. Install malicious code onto the data storage device, and then reinsert the data storage device into the ATM. The second stage occurred when the malware was activated. Members of the conspiracy would activate the malware remotely through special codes or commands. The malware employed would bypass the ATM security systems, effectively taking control of the ATM's operation. Third and finally, a dispense command would be sent to the ATM. With the malware bypassing the ATM's security systems, the ATM would then dispense cash until it runs out or the process is disrupted. The criminals typically check the ATM in advance to make sure it doesn't have a silent hood alarm. The FBI notice states that generic keys are widely available to open ATM hoods. The malware is programmed to self-delete after the jackpotting. The scheme attacks the ATM itself, not customer accounts. The Lincoln Journal-Star reported in December that 54 people, many suspected of belonging to the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, were indicted late in 2025 for being in an alleged jackpotting conspiracy. 22 were indicted in December and 32 in October. The charges in December included conspiracy to provide material support to terrorists, bank fraud, bank burglary, and money laundering. The story states that 53 banks and 40 credit unions were victims of the plot. The banks and credit unions lost at least $5.4 million. Attempts were made to steal another $1.4 million. The Detroit Free Press reported on April 15th that a Venezuelan who entered the United States in 2023 pleaded guilty to conspiring to commit bank larceny on behalf of Tren de Aragua. The story said that Josu Manuel Gonzalez Moy used a counterfeit key and cordless drill to open an ATM in Dexter, Michigan, in order to install the malware needed to jackpot the ATM. The story said Gonzalez Moy was blackmailed by the gang, which ordered him to jackpot ATMs. Gonzalez Moy had an accomplice, but when an alarm sounded during the jackpotting, the co-conspirator drove away with the police in pursuit. Gonzalez Moy was in the vehicle when it crashed head-on into a tree. The co-conspirator later died at a hospital. Basically, there's a bank or credit union hit in the U.S. almost every single day, said Omaha Special Agent in Charge Eugene Cowell, according to a March 14th story in the Omaha World Herald. The FBI bulletin listed several physical indications that jackpotting has occurred or was attempted, including ATM door open alerts outside of planned maintenance, low or no cash indicators outside of expected use schedules, unauthorized devices plugged into the ATM, removal of hard drives from the ATM, or the ATM is unexpectedly out of service. The Springfield Daily Citizen reached out to the Kansas City office of the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Missouri for comment. A spokesperson for the office referred a reporter to the Nebraska office of the U.S. Attorney, which did not respond by deadline.
The Cardinals organization is loaded with talented catchers. That hasn't stopped Springfield's Ryan Campos from making his case. By Lyndall Scranton of the Springfield Daily Citizen. There is a picture of Springfield Cardinals catcher Ryan Campos as he jogs back to the dugout after flying out on Wednesday, June 10th, 2026 in Springfield. He is in his full gear on the field. The deepest position on the St. Louis Cardinals prospect list is catcher. 3 recent Springfield Cardinals are on the big league roster: Ivan Herrera, age 26, 2024 Texas League Player of the Year Jimmy Crooks, 2024, age 24, and Pedro Pages, age 27. AAA Memphis finds 22-year-old Leo Bernal a big stick on the 2025 Springfield Texas League champions, alongside former big leaguer Yohel Pozo, age 29. Meanwhile, Springfield is the 2026 home for number 2 overall minor league prospect Raynel Rodriguez, a 19-year-old whose electric bat is heating up. Ryan Campos might not be on any hot list of rising Cardinals catchers, but the 23-year-old is doing all he can to open eyes while splitting time between catcher and designated hitter for Springfield. For sure, it's hard not to see that, Campos said during last week's homestand when asked about the deep pool behind the plate. I'm not really too concerned about that. I think if I just take care of my business, be a good teammate, and go about my business day by day the way I should, it'll work out. Campos isn't exactly a secret with his skill set. The fourth round draft choice in 2024 out of Arizona State entered this season ranked number 26 among Cardinals prospects, according to Baseball America. He's doing what he can to move up and make others take notice. The 5'8", 190-pound left-hand hitter entered the team's June 18th game at Wichita on a 9-game hitting streak, in which he's 13 for 32, .406, with 8 RBIs. He's hitting .395 in June, boosting his seasonal average to .287 with 11 doubles, 8 home runs, and 39 RBIs, with an .875 OPS on base plus slugging. I'm happy that I've been able to contribute to the team a little bit so far, Campos said. My only goal has been to come in with a positive mindset every day and just be a good teammate, so I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job with that. Cardinals manager Patrick Anderson has a special interest in his catchers, being one himself during his playing years. He researched Campos during the offseason, knowing that there was a good chance the player would wind up assigned to Springfield. He's an even-keel young man, Anderson said. I didn't know this, but he's never really been away from home except for last year, because he lives in Arizona and went to Arizona State. Lived at home during that time. So once he got to pro ball, he was away and he's not used to that. This young man, besides the skill set that he's a bat-first catcher, he's really come a long way defensively. He's been fun for me because I'm a catching guy, and he is really challenging me to be able to push him every day. Campos said he understands that Rodriguez is going to get a lot of attention, and he's willing to do what he can to help out the youngest players, not only on the team, but in the Texas League. Raynell's a good kid, man, Campos said. We like to go over with the pitchers and study the opposing batters we're facing for a week. Every week we'll meet for like 30 minutes going through that. There are some things that I've experienced through college and pro ball that I can help him with. He's got that hitting thing down pretty good, but I think I can help him be a little bit better player just from the stuff I've seen so far. The 2023 Buster Posey National Collegiate Catcher of the Year semifinalist for his hometown Sun Devils hit .319 in 26 games following the 2024 draft with Low A Palm Beach. At High A Peoria last season, he hit .235 in 95 games with 3 home runs, 22 doubles, and stole 10 bases. With the jump to Double A considered the most difficult to make in the minor leagues, Campos has handled it well. I would just say the floor is a little higher in Double A than the spots I've been so far, Campos said. Obviously, guys are talented, but I think my off-season work put me in a good spot to perform a little better on the field than I did last year. I can get better at a lot of different parts of my game. I don't think it's one or the other, offense or defense for me. It's just trying to be as well-rounded as I can in all aspects. Anderson said Campos is up to the big leagues we tell them all the time that we want to give them up to the big leagues with St. Louis, but to maximize whatever opportunity is there for them at any point in their career, whether it be somebody training for him or somebody else who likes him or whatever it is, Anderson said. We want him to make it with the Cardinals, see how good he can be for us. Anderson said Campos's personality is a perfect fit for the clubhouse and on the field. His development's been great, and it has been a great treat being around him because he's a great personality, said Anderson. He can laugh at himself and have some fun because, he's not the tallest guy in the world. I think it's about 5'9" or 5'10". But this kid in that small package is pretty strong. He's really working on his arm strength. He's doing a really good job with that. It's been a treat watching him progress in all areas every single week. While life has been treating him well in Springfield, Campos said he's still adjusting in the Midwest heat and humidity. He confirms there's a definite difference from the desert heat he grew up in Arizona. It's a different beast, that's for sure, Campos said. It's a little different than Florida, too. It's definitely hot in Arizona, but it's like a microwave here. It's like you take a shower and you're still sweating. Upcoming Cardinals homestand. June 23rd versus Northwest Arkansas Royals at 7:05 p.m. June 24th versus Northwest Arkansas at 7:05 p.m. And June 25th, June 26th, also versus Northwest Arkansas at 7:05 p.m. June 27th versus Northwest Arkansas at 6:35 p.m. and June 28th versus Northwest Arkansas at 4:35 p.m.
We are currently broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store. The Blind Community Thrift Store is a spacious 17,000 square foot thrift store located in Springfield, Missouri. It holds the distinction of being the first retail store worldwide to incorporate Navylens technology, which significantly enhances accessibility for the blind, visually impaired, and non-English speaking individuals. This innovative system enables customers to navigate and shop with minimal assistance, fostering independence and confidence. The store operates as a nonprofit organization dedicated to generating funds that support the provision of adaptive technology and training for the blind and visually impaired community, often at little to no cost. Visitors can learn more about the organization and access its services by visiting the store in person at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri, or by exploring the website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The website offers comprehensive information about the store's mission, services, and opportunities for community involvement, as well as details about the free store available to residents in the Springfield area. We have several obituaries to announce this week, beginning with Sharon Fox, aged 81, who passed away June 12th, 2026, and those arrangements will be provided by Herman H. Lohmeyer Funeral Home and Missouri Veterans Cemetery. Larry W. Swims of Marshfield, Missouri, age 78, passed away June 13th, 2026. His arrangements are being provided by Gorman Scharf Funeral Home, and those services will be held on June 22nd at 10 a.m. at Gorman Scharf. Sharon K. Stone died peacefully on June 11th, 2026, at age 83 after a lengthy battle with Alzheimer's, surrounded by family. A memorial service in honor of Sharon K. Stone will be held on June 27th, and those arrangements are being handled by Penwell Gable Cremations. Bobby Snyder, aged 98, passed away June 15th, 2026. The arrangements will be provided by Green Lawn Funeral Home North. Those services were held yesterday, June 18th at 11 a.m. at Watermill Church of Christ. Albert Al Selby, aged 84, passed away on June 13th, 2026. His arrangements are being provided by Gorman Scharf Funeral Home. Jeanette Hipskind, D.O., died peacefully at home on June 8th after a journey with a vascular dementia and the after effects of a stroke. A celebration of life will be held for her on July 10th at 10:30 a.m. at the Northwoods Pavilion at Lake Springfield Park, and a detailed obituary can be found online at holdenfunerals.com. Finally, we have Patricia Ann Hood, aged 83, of Mount Vernon, Missouri, who passed away June 16th, 2026. Those arrangements are being provided by Fawcett Mosher Funeral Home, and her visitation is today, June 19th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the funeral home. Her services will be held tomorrow, June 20th, at 10 a.m. at First Baptist Church. Our condolences go to the family and friends of all of those who have recently passed.
The Library Foundation receives $50,000 grant for Republic Teen Department. This article is by Vicki Hicks of the Springfield Greene County Library District Library Foundation. The Springfield Greene County Library Foundation has received a $50,000 grant from Jeanette L. Musgrave Foundation in partnership with the Community Foundation of the Ozarks to support teen services and resources at the new Republic Branch Library. Bridget Dierks, Director of Institutional Advancement for the Library Foundation, said the grant will help ensure teens in Republic have access to dedicated space, technology, and collections designed to support learning, creativity, and connection. We are honored to receive this grant to support our beautiful new teen department in Republic, Dierks said. Ms. Musgrave's legacy of ensuring young people have access to opportunity continues through this investment, helping us create a safe and engaging place for teens to learn and grow. Grant funding will support the teen collection, shelving, furnishings, and dedicated computers for teen use. The $11.1 million library was partially funded by Federal American Rescue Plan Act, the ARPA, grants distributed by the State of Missouri and Greene County, as well as donations from the community and the library district's reserve funds. The 22,000 square foot facility, which opened in January 26, more than doubled the size of the previous Republic branch and modernized and expanded library services. New features include dedicated children's and teen spaces, a 150-seat community room, a business connect center with computers and conference rooms, the district's second makerspace, an expanded computer lab, and outdoor amenities including a walking path with a permanent story walk installation. A grand opening celebration was held on June 1st.
And here we have a letter. What the Southern Baptist Convention's debate on women in leadership means for Springfield churches. And this looks like just a general article from the Daily Citizen. We do not have an author named here. And we begin with a photo of University Heights Baptist Church in a Springfield Daily Citizen file photo. Looks like it was taken in the fall sometime. Oh, okay, here we go. We have an opinion by Nolan Porter of Springfield. Like many others, I have followed the news this week regarding the Southern Baptist Convention and its annual summer tradition of restricting the roles of women in ministry and leadership. I realize that for some people, these conversations feel distant, abstract, or simply another denominational dispute. For others, these conversations are deeply personal. I also recognize that University Heights Baptist Church is not Southern Baptist and has not been for more than 20 years. Yet the word Baptist remains part of our story, and it remains part of many people's faith journeys. Right, wrong, or indifferent, in the buckle of the Bible Belt, when people see the word Baptist on a church sign, they often assume they know exactly what that church believes and practices. Sometimes those assumptions are accurate, sometimes they're not. I think it's important for our wonderful neighbors in this great city to understand that there has never been only one way to be Baptist. Across our city and around our country, there are women who have faithfully taught Sunday school classes, led ministries, preached sermons, served as missionaries, offered pastoral care, chaired committees, raised generations in the faith, and helped shape the church into what it is today. Countless women have sensed a call to vocational ministry and have been told that the gifts God gave them somehow have limits simply because they do not have male anatomy. If recent SBC headlines have reopened old wounds for you, I want you to hear this clearly. You are seen, you are valued, and your gifts matter. It is also difficult to ignore the painful irony that some of the loudest conversations about restricting women's roles in the church have unfolded alongside years of documented failures to protect women and girls from sexual abuse. Time and energy have been devoted to debating whether women may preach, pastor, or serve in certain leadership roles, while sexual abuse survivors have too often struggled to be heard, believed, or defended. That reality should grieve all of us. The church ought to be the safest place in the world for the vulnerable and the strongest advocate for those who have been harmed. We should be far more concerned with confronting abuse than policing the boundaries of women's leadership. Jesus consistently elevated, protected, listened, and empowered women in a culture that often marginalized them. Those who claim his name and his way should do no less. Historical Baptists have long held convictions that point us toward a broader understanding of ministry and leadership. We have affirmed the priesthood of all believers, the belief that God works through ordinary people, women and men alike. We have championed soul freedom, the conviction that each person is responsible before God in discerning and responding to God's call on their life. And we have insisted that no denomination has a monopoly on faithfulness. Sincere Christians read Scripture differently on these questions, and people of good faith will continue to disagree. But disagreement should never lead us to diminish the image of God in one another or dismiss the possibility that God may call people whose gifts challenge our expectations. As Congregation of the American Baptist Churches, USA, and Cooperative Baptist Fellowship, we have sought to affirm that when God calls people into service, leadership, ministry, and witness, the church's role is not to stand in the way, but to come alongside them with encouragement, support, empowerment, and affirmation. I have 2 daughters, and I believe they should grow up knowing they are created in the image of God, gifted by the Holy Spirit, and capable of leading wherever God calls them to lead. And I believe my 2 sons should grow up seeing women teach, lead, preach, serve, and minister, not as exceptions to be tolerated, but as sisters in Christ whose gifts strengthen the whole body of Christ. A church that trusts women to teach children but not adults, to organize ministries but not lead them, or to serve endlessly without sharing authority communicates a troubling message about whose voices matter. And a church that debates women's roles more passionately than it protects women from harm risks losing credibility in its witness to the gospel itself. The kingdom of God is richer, healthier, and more faithful when all of God's people are empowered to serve. Dr. Nolan Porter is the senior pastor at University Heights Baptist Church at 1010 South National Avenue.
Missouri judge strikes down nearly all state abortion regulations. Medication abortion will be available in Missouri for the first time since 2018 after a judge determined most of the state's challenged abortion regulations are unconstitutional, including laws requiring hospital privileges, complication plans, and special clinic licenses by the Missouri Independent on the Springfield Daily Citizen. By Anna Spoer. Many of Missouri's abortion regulations, including laws that Planned Parenthood said made it impossible for providers to prescribe medication abortion, were struck down in a ruling Thursday by Jackson County judge. One of the regulations most widely condemned by abortion rights supporters, a 72-hour waiting period between an initial consultation and an abortion, has been unenforceable for several months under a temporary ruling. The 20-page decision from Jackson County Circuit Judge Jerry Zhang makes the decision permanent. One of the few laws upheld Thursday by Zhang is a requirement that patients meet with a doctor in person before being prescribed medication abortion. Zhang also upheld a requirement that only physicians can perform abortions. In the ruling, Zhang alluded to the long and contentious political fight over abortion and her limited constitutional role in this much broader discussion. The ruling comes after a 10-day-long bench trial played out in January in Kansas City, in which Zhang heard from previous abortion providers, Planned Parenthood employees, and women who underwent abortions they later regretted. And it comes more than 18 months after voters passed a constitutional amendment protecting the right to abortion up to the point of fetal viability. Debate and litigation around the topic of abortion has occurred for several decades. It is a deeply personal, philosophical, and moral issue to many on both sides of the argument. It has also played a significant role in elected politics, Zhang wrote in her decision Thursday. It is clear to this court that the beliefs surrounding abortion are, and will continue to be, an ongoing conversation and debate in American society. The ruling opens up access to medication abortion for Missourians for the first time since 2018. Medication abortion is the most common method to end a pregnancy in the United States, used in about 2/3 of abortions. Planned Parenthood, in a statement Thursday, said it will begin offering medication abortion appointments next week. This decision brings compassion and common sense back to Missouri healthcare, Emily Wales, president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Great Plains, said in a statement. For too long, politicians force patients to leave the state for an evidence-based and trusted form of abortion care. Now, that care is coming home, and with it, we move closer to fulfilling the promise of reproductive freedom Missourians demanded. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway said in a statement Thursday that she plans to expeditiously appeal the decision to the Missouri Supreme Court. This radical decision gives abortion providers a free pass to police themselves, Hanaway said. Women are no longer entitled to the same level of care in an abortion clinic that they would receive in other healthcare settings. Providers are no longer required to maintain complication plans or insurance, and the state cannot even conduct basic health and safety inspections to ensure patient safety. The laws declared unconstitutional by Zhang include special licensing requirements for abortion providers, a ban on telemedicine that requires a physician to be present when a patient takes abortion medication, hospital admitting privileges for physicians performing abortions, a requirement for physicians prescribing medication abortions to have a state-approved complication plan, that medication abortion providers carry insurance covering physicians after they leave employment, tissue removed during a surgical abortion to be sent to a pathologist, that patients be given material created by the state Department of Health and Senior Services, including a pamphlet that reads, "The life of each human being begins at conception. Abortion will terminate the life of a separate, unique, living human being." Medication abortion appointments will be available at the Planned Parenthood Clinic in Kansas City and St. Louis on Monday, and in Columbia on Wednesday, spokespeople said Thursday. In post-trial briefings filed in April, the Missouri Attorney General's office argued that Planned Parenthood brings this case to eliminate nearly all of Missouri's health and safety abortion laws in one fell swoop. The ACLU of Missouri and Planned Parenthood, who filed the lawsuit immediately following the November 2024 election, argued that the abortion regulations were designed to ensure abortion was regulated out of existence by creating logistical nightmares for patients and ethical dilemmas for providers without making procedures safer. In 2022, Missouri became the first state to ban nearly all abortions after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. In 2024, Missouri also became the first state to overturn an abortion ban by the vote of the people. In response, lawmakers sent voters a new proposal that would ban abortion with limited exceptions for survivors of rape and incest. Missourians will vote on the measure listed as Amendment 3 in November. The role of the court is to apply the law in any given case, Zhang wrote, and to base its decisions solely on the interpretation of the law as applied to the evidence before it.
And today is Juneteenth. We would like to wish everyone a happy Juneteenth today. And we are visiting an article written by Ahmed Jawadi a couple of days ago, asking and answering what is Juneteenth and see why we celebrate this federal holiday today. America's newest federal holiday is right around the corner, Juneteenth, National Independence Day, also known as Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, or Black Independence Day, is an important day that celebrates the emancipation of African Americans. Considered the longest-running African American holiday, it has grown in recognition and significance since becoming a federal holiday in 2021. Communities use this day to honor resilience, culture, and progress through various events, gatherings, and activities. Here's what to know about the holiday. So what is Juneteenth? Well, Juneteenth commemorates the events of June 19th, 1865, when Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, and ordered all enslaved people in the state to be set free. Slavery in the United States wasn't formally abolished until months later on December 6th with the ratification of the 13th Amendment. The newly freed people in Texas coined Juneteenth by combining June and 19th in honor of that day. Although various states, including Missouri, have recognized Juneteenth in one form or another since its inception, it wasn't officially designated as a federal holiday until then-President Joe Biden signed a bill doing so in 2021. So when is it? Well, this year, Juneteenth will be celebrated Friday, June 19th, today. The holiday is also often celebrated on the third Saturday of June, with many events taking place on that day. Communities use this day to honor resilience, culture, and progress through various events, gatherings, and activities. These can include church services, picnics, barbecues, parades, and festivals, to name a few. So, is Juneteenth a state holiday in Missouri? Yes, Juneteenth is a state holiday in Missouri and is observed every 19th day of June. As such, all state offices are closed on that day unless it falls on the weekend, in which case offices will be closed either the preceding Friday or the following Monday. Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Carnival comes to Finley River Park for 25th Annual Duck Race Festival by Zoe McIntyre of the Springfield Daily Citizen. There is a picture of the carnival with a large Ferris wheel in the background, as well as other vendors and activities. A carnival will be hosted at Finley River Park alongside the Saratoga Duck Race from June 18th to the 20th. The Saratoga Duck Race will boast a full-blown carnival at Ozarks Finley River Park at 891 through 961 North Riverside Road from June 18th to the 20th in celebration of the festival's 25th year, said organizer Bradley Jackson, Christian County's Eastern Commissioner. The focal point of the event has always been a rubber duck race on the Finley River. Participants purchase racing ducks for a chance to win a new truck, and the festival's proceeds benefit several Christian County nonprofits. But over the years, the draw of the duck race has grown beyond floating fowls. I got recruited down to volunteer at the very first duck race, Jackson said. It was underwhelming by today's standards. Over 120 craft vendors and about 30 food vendors have signed up to be part of the festival this year, Jackson said. The event will include a 5K duck waddle, hot air balloon display, beer garden, pie eating contest, fireworks, and more. The two-day festival in 2025 drew an estimated 20,000 people each day and raised over $100,000 for local charities. Every year, we kind of set a new record. Every year, we try to think of something to add to the event or change something to make it better. And a lot of people have built a tradition out of coming to the event and spending time with their family, Jackson said. Know before you go. Most activities are scheduled Friday and Saturday, June 19th and 20th. You can find a full festival itinerary online. Parking. Visitors can park at Finley River Park or park and walk from the Ozark Career Center or Ozark Senior Center. Parking is also available at Ozarks Junior High and High School with shuttle buses. The Carnival. Carnival rides are open June 18th from 5 to 10 p.m., June 19th from 5 to 11 p.m., and June 20th from noon to 10 p.m. Unlimited ride wristbands are available for pre-sale for $30 or in person for $35 at the event. Duck Race. The Duck Race is happening June 20th at 7 p.m. Rubber ducks can be adopted online or in person before the race, starting at $10 per duck.
And if you're looking for something else to do, 417 Magazine and Taryn Shore McKee bring us things to do this week in Springfield, Missouri. And we begin the article with a photo of some hot air balloons all lit up and glowing against a dark sky. Summer officially arrives Saturday. Though if you've been in town, you know it's felt like summer for the past week. If you spend any time scrolling social media, the season comes across as belonging exclusively to kids. Summer camps, splash pads, family movies in the park tend to dominate the conversation. But this week's date book is a solid reminder that being an adult in 417 land has its perks too, especially in the summer. Patio season is in full swing, lake days are calling, and some of the Ozarks' most quintessential summer traditions return. Tent theater is back, the hot air balloon glow lights up the night sky, and rubber duck races bring smiles to Ozark. Something new, last week Republic unveiled the Loop at J.R. Martin Park, a major community gathering space with food truck areas, a farmer's market pavilion, expanded trails, and more. Go check it out. At Juneteenth celebrations, Father's Day weekend, it's this Saturday, and an event lineup that includes live music, comedy, unique dining experiences, and the wonderfully weird World Oddities Expo. And there's no excuse not to get out and enjoy the longest days of the year. So we have already passed Thursday, June 18th. I will skip those events and move straight into Friday, June 19th. We have the Juneteenth Festival at Good Spirits & Co. headquarters. It is free from 3 to 9 p.m. Come out to Good Spirits & Co. HQ for a fun, uplifting festival celebrating Juneteenth. The free event, with a portion of proceeds donated to the NAACP of Springfield, includes local food trucks, live music from DJ Phillip and Mosaic Inspire Choir, vendors, and more. Little River Band and the Ozarks Mountain Daredevils at Black Oak Amphitheater. Tickets are $50 to $100. That's at 7 p.m. Part of the Equipment Share Summer to Remember concert series. Catch 2 incredible bands in one show at Black Oak Amp. VIP ticket perks include a free buffet dinner, express private entrance, and private bathrooms and cash bar. The Hot Air Balloon Glow and Sertoma Duck Race Festival is free admission at Finley River Park in Ozark. Technically 2 separate events, but over the years they've become one beloved festival. Friday's Balloon Glow includes live music, food, and vendors, while the Duck Race Festival Saturday is more of a traditional carnival with rides, a beer garden, games, fireworks, and of course, the rubber duck race. Free to enter, but rides, food, and games have individual costs. Saturday, June 20th, we have beer, bourbon, and barbecue at Big Cedar Lodge. $25 for ages 4 to 20, $75 for those over 21. That's from 2 to 5 p.m. You can kick off Father's Day weekend at Big Cedar Lodge with mouthwatering barbecue, live music from Clay Self, and over 100 types of beer and bourbon, plus their makers, from all around the country. All access passes for guests 21 and up include unlimited food and beverage tastings. The Oregon Trail 5K Team Run at Sycamore Creek Ranch is $18 to $45 from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Teams of 4 to 6 step back in time and test a variety of skills as they head west in this innovative race that combines strategy, overcoming obstacles, endurance, and beautiful but rugged terrain, just like the real Oregon Trail. Conestoga wagons wait at the finish line with rations and refreshments. The Drunken Stoned Comedy Tour at Springfield Comedy Club. Those tickets are $24 to $29.50. That's at 3 p.m. today. Cuban-born, South Florida raised Lando Gonzalez and Austin-based Franco Harris Romero pair up for this day-drinking comedy show. Their unique, vulnerable, and all-too-real comedy styles will have you doubled over with laughter. Continuing on Saturday the 20th and into the 21st, we have the World Oddities Expo at Springfield Expo Center. Those tickets are $20 with those 12 and under for free. It's taking place 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Weird, peculiar, odd, macabre, fascinating, even gross. You'll find it all at the World Oddities Expo. Browse dozens of vendors selling nearly any and everything. See live performances and animal demos on the main stage, and sit in on a seminar. Several add-ons are available, including a terrarium workshop, butterfly pinning, and the Deformed exhibit, featuring real specimens with rare medical anomalies. Finally, on Sunday, June 21st, we have Go Skateboarding Day at Springfield Skate Park. This is a free event that takes place from 3 to 9 p.m. Honor this internationally celebrated day the only proper way, by skateboarding. Bring your board to the Springfield Skate Park right near Fast Night Park and enjoy free admission for all skateboarders. All experience levels are welcome, and there will be contests and prizes throughout the day. Hope you find something great to do this weekend.
City to consider $32 million in bonds for new Andes frozen custard campus by Karen Craigo, reporter for the Springfield Business Journal. Springfield City Council will consider issuing $32 million in bonds to Andes Frozen Custard for a relocation project. A resolution to issue the bonds appears on the council agenda for June 22nd. City spokesperson Cora Scott said the measure will be eligible for a vote that night. Andes Frozen Custard requested the $32 million in industrial development revenue bonds authorized by Chapter 100 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri. The explanation of the council bill states, Andes Frozen Custard CEO Andy Kuntz said earlier this month he was mulling a move outside of the city because of increasing costs of construction since he first began planning a new headquarters 3 years ago. The explanation adds that the project is competitive with other prospective sites throughout the state and region, and the incentive is necessary for the project to remain in Springfield. Through the project, Andes Frozen Custard is planning to relocate its headquarters to the northeast corner of East Division Street and North Lecomte Road, according to the council bill. Since 2016, the company headquarters has been a rented property at 211 East Water Street in downtown Springfield. That building is owned by Clan McQuarrie LLC. The council bill explains that the project is a new headquarters campus with 43,200 square feet of office space spread among 3 buildings and a 9,600 square foot industrial warehouse. The project would be completed in 2 phases, starting with the first 2 office buildings to be completed in 2028, and followed by the 3rd office building and the industrial warehouse building, according to the council bill. Depending on the project timing, the bonds may be requested either all at once, as a single transaction, or individually for each phase. The council bill explanation states, noting the total project cost is nearly $32 million. The explanation states the investment will create 16 new jobs with an annual starting wage of $94,766, approximately 1.66 times the Greene County average wage, with an anticipated annual payroll addition of more than $1.5 million. The Chapter 100 real property tax exemption is requested for 25 years for each phase, set at 90% exemption for the first 10 years, 75% for years 11 through 15, 60% for years 16 through 20, and 50% for years 21 through 25. The explanation states the requested incentive structure exceeds standard perimeters outlined in the city's policies for economic incentives, but it offers a list of reasons to consider the enhanced level of support. Headquarters retention and brand growth for a prominent national brand, with prestige associated with the national headquarters remaining rooted in Springfield. Job retention and high wage creation. Capital investment with payments in lieu of taxes structured to preserve the existing tax base and provide financial benefits to affected taxing districts. Comparability to existing programs, including Chapter 353 tax abatement. Competitive landscape with other locations outside the Springfield vying for the project. Limited impacts in sales tax exemption on building materials. A one-time benefit that will have limited impact on city revenues, with most required building materials purchased outside the city. According to past Business Journal reporting, the company filed a building project permit with the city to build a $12 million headquarters at 3837 East Division Street. But CEO Andy Kuntz said the project was turning out to be more expensive than anticipated when planning began 3 years ago. Kuntz told SBJ that building a headquarters in Springfield was the company's preference, but increasing construction costs had prompted him to weigh 3 other options: a move to Kansas City, a purchase of an existing building in Republic or another community, or relocating to an existing building elsewhere in the Queen City. He expressed a preference in past reporting for a unique space, like the downtown location the company has outgrown. The new facility would include a test kitchen, he said. Chapter 100 revenue bonds allow the city to extend its tax-exempt status to the purchase and ownership of real property, construction materials, and tangible personal property, according to an explanation by the Missouri Department of Economic Development. The Springfield Department of Workforce and Economic Vitality offers an explanation page for Chapter 100 bonds on its website. Benefits include real or personal property tax abatement, through which the property is owned by the city during the bond term and thus is exempt from taxes. A payment in lieu of tax agreements may be required to modify the level of abatement, the page states. The tool also offers sales tax exemption for equipment purchases. Chapter 100 bonds may be tax exempt, making it possible to issue them at a lower interest rate compared to conventional financing, the website states. When Chapter 100 bonds are issued, the company transfers ownership of the site or equipment to the city, the website explains. The bond proceeds are then used to fund the construction of the development project, it states. The company buys the bonds and repays them over a set time period. Once the bonds are completely repaid, the local government conveys a title of the site and/or equipment back to the company. For real property tax exemption through Chapter 100, certain criteria must be met. Among these are an investment of $5 million or more, or the creation or retention of at least 100 jobs at the county's average wage or greater. This job creation or retention component may be waived if council determines there is an overriding public benefit, the website explains. Andes has more than 170 locations in 15 states, according to past reporting. Neither city officials nor Kurtz returned a phone call in time for this report.
And it looks like Missouri's black bear population is growing and expanding its range. Janice Reeser brings us this story through the Springfield News-Leader, which says recent black bear sightings in Columbia are highlighting the growth of the species population in Missouri. The black bear population in the state has reached about 1,000 and is expanding beyond its core range in the Ozarks, according to a community announcement. Quote, as the population grows, bears are naturally spreading out. Bob Pierce, a wildlife and fisheries specialist with the University of Missouri Extension, said in the announcement. They can travel long distances, so it's not unusual to see one moving through areas like Columbia. While most bears remain in southern Missouri, they can roam into agricultural areas, suburbs, and cities, especially as younger bears search for food and territory. Black bears are generally considered less aggressive than grizzlies or brown bears and are more likely to avoid people, according to the announcement. However, they can still be dangerous if they feel threatened or become accustomed to human food. In most cases, bears spotted in town are simply passing through. What brings them into neighborhoods is usually easy access to food. Black bears rely heavily on their sense of smell and will seek out garbage, pet food, birdseed, and other calorie-rich sources. Once they begin feeding on human-related foods, they can lose their natural wariness of people. That's concerning. That's when you start to see repeat visits, Pierce said in the announcement. If there's nothing here for them to eat, most bears won't stick around. So how do you stay safe around bears? Well, Pierce said in the announcement that if you see a bear, the most important step is to keep your distance. Never approach a bear, and stay at least 100 yards away if possible. If you're inside a building or vehicle, remain there. Residents can also reduce the chances of an encounter by removing attractants, such as reducing and securing trash, pet food, and bird feeders, avoiding leaving food outdoors, and never intentionally feeding a bear. Smart advice. If you encounter a bear outdoors, give it space and back away slowly. Most bears will avoid people if they have a clear path to leave, according to the announcement. Keep pets under control, as dogs can provoke a defensive reaction. The following subheading reads, A conservation success with new challenges. Black bears were once common in Missouri, but habitat loss and unrestricted hunting sharply reduced populations. Their numbers have been growing over the past several decades as forests recovered and populations expanded from neighboring states. Pierce said in the announcement that today's population growth is considered a conservation success, but it also means more shared space between people and wildlife. Missouri is bear country again, Pierce said in the announcement. Seeing a bear can be surprising, but it doesn't have to be a problem if people understand how to respond. This story was created with the assistance of artificial intelligence. Journalists were involved in every step of the information gathering, review, editing, and publishing process. Learn more at cm.usatoday.com. Just a quick announcement here, Genevieve.
Springfield City Council to consider pause on data center development. Springfield City Council will consider a measure to put an administrative delay on potential data center development at its next meeting on June 22nd. Proposed by city staff, the pause would be 120 days in length to allow for public dialogue and the creation of a public interest evaluation framework. If approved, the temporary pause would provide time for city staff to evaluate the city's existing regulations, conduct technical analysis, gather public input, and draft recommendations. City Manager David Cameron said setting a policy framework before evaluating specific projects is an important step for the community.
And we would like to thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. You can tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.